Agriculture is a way of life that helps sustain the people of Ethiopia as well as many different cultures around the world. Within agriculture, the concept of sustainability is incorporated. Sustainability can be described as the ability to produce food reliably and efficiently without causing negative consequences to the environment. This is an important concept to use in agriculture because there are a limited amount of natural resources and one does not know how long they will last. By treating the land and animals with respect, farmers show that they have the best interest of the land and environment in mind.
The people of Ethiopia rely on rivers, lakes, reservoirs, and groundwater for their source of water. Ethiopia has 4 major drainage systems, which are the Nile, the Rift Valley, Shebele-Juba Basin, and the northeast coast. Only 3% of the crops are irrigated, so farmers are reliant on the rainfall for the success of their crops.
Ethiopia has diverse ecosystems that provide an environment for many different plants and animals. Farm animals are an important resource for rural Ethiopia. In fact, the livestock sector makes up 15% of Ethiopia's total GDP. They have the largest cattle population in Africa, but they have not reached their full potential in production. Sheep, goats, and chickens are other important livestock in Ethiopia. Their plant diversity is also exceptionally high, and these plants grow in 4 different biomes, including savannas, deserts, tropical thickets, and mountain vegetation. There are 10,382,365 hectares of tillable land used for grain crops yearly. 92.7% of tillable land is used for grain production, and cereal crops account for 73% of total production. Teff and maize are the major crops, with 28% of the total cereal area planted being teff and 27% maize. The majority of farmers are small subsistence farmers and plant less than 25.2 hectares. Large farmers account for 4% of total grain producers, and these farmers are more efficient while using some more modern practices, but average yield is still hindered by lack of technology.
The primary source of energy in Ethiopia is by the use of hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity accounts for 96% of the energy produced, which makes Ethiopia susceptible to power shortages during extreme droughts. Ethiopia is known to have some oil and natural gas reserves, but does not have the technological capabilities to produce energy from these sources. Household energy needs are mostly met through the use of firewood.
In the mid-1980s, Ethiopia experienced one of the worst famines in recorded history, with large portions of a rural population struggling to survive during the multi-year drought that coincided with the famine. The largest contributing factor to the famine was government policies at the time. These policies led to the destruction of surplus crops, restriction of labor and trade, and forced relocation of many citizens. The Ethiopian government that held power during the years-long famine dissolved in 1991, and the Democratic Republic that rose in its place attempted to fix many of the problems that had led to the famine in the first place. The majority of grain producers in Ethiopia are subsistence farmers. Little can be done about the environmental impact or economic viability of grain production if regional conflicts continue to displace farmers. To move towards a more sustainable grain system in the next few decades, the Ethiopian government must develop policies to ensure food and land security for grain farmers. Due to the various conflicts Ethiopia has faced in the last few decades, its national infrastructure has often been neglected. Infrastructure that provides medical care and clean drinking water is a concern to every Ethiopian, and unfortunately all of these areas are still lacking. To address issues with roads, healthcare, water access, and education, the Ethiopian government introduced the agricultural policy known as ALDI, which has seen some degree of success. To achieve a sustainable grain system in Ethiopia, the ALDI policy that is driving much of the country's infrastructure growth needs to be expanded upon and revised to fully meet the needs of grain growers.
Ethiopia has one of the largest economies of scale in Central and Eastern Africa. Agriculture is the largest economic sector, employing 85% of Ethiopians. Agriculture accounts for 50% of Ethiopia's total gross domestic product, which is $121 billion.
Approximately 71.5% of Ethiopia's total land area is classified under UNEP's definition of desertification. Much of this total land area can be found in the northern parts of the country where cattle graze steep hillsides. The major causes are overgrazing, deforestation, and poor farming practices. It is estimated that 1.3 to 7.8 billion metric tons of soil are washed away per year. With Ethiopia being near the equator and having a wide range of altitudes, the country experiences multiple climate varieties that are suited for different production systems. This variation in altitude is the major determining factor for temperature and rainfall, which in turn determines the variation of vegetation grown. The northern part of the country consists of 2 rainy seasons, while the southern part of the country experiences more marginal rainfall.
The first step for Ethiopia to achieve sustainability would be for the people to gain economic stability. This would help to reduce the poverty level by allowing people to create and generate their own revenue. A way to help overcome this problem would be to provide education to citizens on how to farm or manage cattle and in an efficient and effective way. Another big way to achieve sustainability would be to improve the access to water. In order to increase their yields in the field, they would need to increase reliability of irrigation and subsistence agriculture. Ethiopia is still working on this concept, and as a country, their improved and safe drinking water has doubled in the past 5 years.